What's up, 412? Welcome back to week 4 of the big picture. 4, that's cuatro in Spanish. I know, I did do Duolingo once.
Hey there, why can't you just get your Spanish lesson done?
Anyways, we're going to be looking at the life of Joseph again. Before we do that, pause this and get your Bible, okay? Grab your Bible and a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to write notes. You can even write in your Bible, but do that and then come back. Awesome, you're back. So I'm going to dive right into it. Our main point is when you can't see the big picture, trust that God is working for your good. All right, and we learn all throughout the Bible, we see this, but Romans 8:28, look it up if you want. Romans 8:28 is such a good example of this. And it says, I'm going to read it straight from the Bible to you, all right? Romans 8:28 says this, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and been called according to his purpose. That's us Christians. And I will also let you in on a secret. It doesn't always feel like that. Sometimes there are times in our lives that really feel like nothing good can come of it. It reminds me of 5th grade. In 5th grade, I had a lot going against me. One, I had these glasses. They were super nerdy. I hated them. My teeth had been chipped in a car accident. Everyone called me Vampire Boy. I remember I had trouble making friends. And get this, I got sick for like 3 months. All right, full transparency. I got sick because I drank from a river. Don't do that because there was beaver poop in the river. And somehow I got like beaver poop sickness in my stomach. It was really bad, but I was sick a lot. And get this, I had the worst, meanest, grumpiest teacher in the world. Her name was Mrs. Gould. She'd been teaching for 50 years. And she was retiring that year. She'd make kids cry all the time. And I remember looking and thinking in that season, what good could come of this? Like, honestly, what good could come of this? What's the point? And we'll all have seasons in our lives like that. Maybe you're in one. Maybe right now you're like, things are crazy. And I don't even know if I'm going back to school. And if I do, what's that going to look like? What's the point of this whole pandemic thing? Maybe at home, things are really tough. And you're like, why did my dad lose his job? Why did my mom lose her job? Why is my brother being so this or that? Whatever it is, you may be thinking, what's the point of this? Maybe big serious things are happening. Maybe you're like, hey, I'll listen to these videos or I'll pray and I'll read my Bible and it doesn't feel like anything's changing. Like, what's the point of all of this? Well, the point is that even when we can't see it, God is working for our good. Now, one of the best examples is the life of Joseph. So we're going to look at that super quick. Genesis 40 tells the story of how Joseph, if you go back, Joseph's brothers hated him. They sold him into slavery. Not good. And then he goes to Egypt. He's a slave, but everything starts turning around with Potiphar. We learned that in a couple of weeks ago. And then all of a sudden he gets accused of something he didn't even do, and he gets thrown into prison, and he's there, and our story picks up right there. There are these two guys, and they have these dreams, and back then dreams really meant something. And so they're like, what does my dream mean? And God helps Joseph interpret that dream. And all of a sudden, he tells one of the guys who is a cupbearer, pretty much just means like if the king or Pharaoh needed something, like a drink, he would get the king that. It was a really good job. And there's a baker. Long story short, the cupbearer, dream meant that he was going to get his job back and everything was good. The baker meant that he was going to be killed. I don't get it. But Genesis 40, verse 20, it says, and now the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all of his officials. He lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker in the presence of his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer back to his position so that he once again put the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he impaled the chief baker, just as Joseph had said to them in his interpretation. Now get this verse. Verse 23, the chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. He had promised Joseph, hey, when I get out of here, I'm going to let Pharaoh know that you need to be out of prison. But he totally forgot him. And 2 years passed by. And I cannot imagine what that would feel like. And Joseph probably thought, what's the point? What good can come out of this? And I'm going to kind of paraphrase. I would love for you to read chapters 40 and 41. But Pharaoh, the king, has a dream, and he doesn't know how to interpret it. And God lets Joseph interpret it. And then God puts Joseph in the number 2 position in all of Egypt. And it was probably at that moment that Joseph says, now I see that God was working and doing great things even when it didn't seem like it. Now, what does that mean for us? How do we, when things are really tough, how do we remind ourselves that God is working for our good even when we can't see it or feel it? One, we can exercise our faith. And what that just means is we can ask God to help us believe and trust that even when we don't feel it. Just ask him, God, I need your help. I don't feel it right now, but I want to trust you and know that you're working for my good. And 2, we can look back at our lives and say, man, I've been through hard things. My family has been through hard things, but God has never failed us. He's always brought us through. And 3, we can ask someone that we trust and let them know, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Can you just, I don't know, it's really hard for me to trust God right now. It's really hard for me to believe that this is going to work for good. And guess what? When we tell someone that we trust, they can use encouragement. God can give them words to speak to us, and they can lift us up and help us remember. Just like Romans 8:28 says, that God is working all things together for our good. So our main point, when you can't see the big picture, trust that God is working for your good. Love you guys, and I cannot wait to see you guys soon. Have an awesome week.